We are all creatures of habit, so much so that according to some studies, around 40% of our waking day is spent engaging in habitual behavior. With so much of our time spent on autopilot, it's crucial to understand the social and biological mechanism that drive these habits and their formation. It's important to understand the physiology which drives habit formation. It's very important to recognize these habits in our day to day, and it's important to build or break habits in order to live our best lives. To better understand the role of habits, it's important to understand exactly what they are. Habits serve the biological purpose of conserving energy across time. In order to conserve energy, our bodies adapt to repeated behaviors, which are to make them require less resources. This can be seen in the way our muscles grow after repeatedly lifting weights in the gym. The adaptation represented in the muscles growing serves the purpose of making the action of lifting a heavy object more accessible to us. It's the same process with habits. The neuron connections in our brains associated with habitual behaviors actually strengthen over the course of many repetitions in order to make that highly repeated behavior easier to access. When this happens, we call it a habit. We, or at least most of us, have driven amongst traffic hundreds of times, if not thousands, and as a result, the connections in our brains have strengthened to the point where when we see any kind of traffic incident, we react to it with almost no effort at all. And if maybe you don't have a lot of driving experience, you'll certainly observe that it gets easier over time. And of course, we all know that when our phone chimes, we check it and respond to the notification accordingly without any thought whatsoever. However, habit formation is not confined to the practical in any way whatsoever. The process works the same for highly repeated negative behaviors like smoking cigarettes and browsing our phones in excess. Oftentimes, the bad habits are the ones that are more satisfying in the short term, but useless or even detrimental in the long term. And oftentimes, good habits like studying, practicing, or eating healthily are not satisfying at all in the short term and take a long time to pay off. Long term success, however, depends on your being conscious of both types of habits and what they are while you're engaging in them, and whether or not they're serving your larger goals or driving you further away from them. All right, so once we identify our habits, what do we do about them? It's fairly commonly said that it takes about 60 days for a habit to form, but it's incorrect to look at it as a function of time, and it should instead be seen as or approached as a function of successful repetitions. But in either case, there's no real concrete model for exactly how long it takes. Practically, what must be done is that whenever the choice is presented between engaging in the desired behavior or any alternative, the desired behavior must be painstakingly chosen every time, or at least a great majority of the time, which of course requires a great amount of commitment and strategizing. So much of our lives are spent on autopilot, so it's absolutely crucial that the autopilot takes us in the direction we want. That's why it's vital that we understand the role of habits in our lives, and if we want to exercise more, drink more water, practice a skill more, the most effective way to do this is by making habits out of these behaviors so we can become who we want to be and achieve all of our goals.